الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات آمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله صلى الله عليه وعلى آله وأصحابه ومن سار سبيله إلى يوم الدين أما بعد. So today inshallah ta'ala we'll be continuing the hadith that we had started a few weeks back, where we had started the hadith and then we had a break. So inshallah ta'ala today we'll just read over the hadith, which is hadith ثاني وثلاثون, this 32nd hadith. So read over the hadith again and then we'll pick up from where we had stopped inshallah ta'ala.
Bismillah wassalatu wassalam ala rasulillah. عن أبي سعيد سعد بن مالك ابن السنان الخدري رضي الله تعالى عنه أن رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم قال: لا ضرر ولا ضرار. حديث حسن رواه ابن ماجه ودارقطني وغيرهما مسندا، ورواه مالك في الموطأ مرسلا عن عمرو بن يحيى عن أبيه عن النبي صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم، فأسقط أبا سعيد وله طرق يقوي بعضها بعضا. Hadith number 32. Do not harm and do not be a cause of harm. On the authority of Abu Sa'id, Sa'd ibn Malik ibn Sinan al-Khudri radiallahu anhu, that the Messenger sallallahu alayhi wasallam said, do not harm and do not be a cause of harm. Hadith Hasan, related by Ibn Majah and Daraqutni and other than them, Musnadan. It is related by Imam Malik in Al-Muwatta Mursalan on Amru ibn Yahya, on his father, on the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So Abu Sa'id is omitted from the chain. It also has other narrations that strengthen each other.
Alhamdulillah. So last week on the last session we had started discussing this particular hadith, and this hadith that is mentioned, la darar wa la dirar, that the hadith regarding not to harm and not to bring about or to cause harm. So we have discussed the hadith by way of one, that the hadith we discussed by way of the aqwal of the ulama regarding this particular hadith. So we had mentioned is a discussion regarding this hadith, where in most of the narration that there is some weakness, but the ulama who mentions that by these isnad being added together, that they give strength to each other, and the hadith is elevated to hadith al-hasan. Then we discussed regarding concerning of those things that he mentioned here, that he mentioned hadith mursala. So we discussed concerning what is intended by this word al-mursala or mursal, hadith al-mursal, according to the ulama of hadith. And also the next aspect of hadith al-mursal, so we have one is this hadith mursal, what's been said by the ulama of hadith, as how they grade hadith al-mursal. And also we discuss that is hadith mursal hujjah, can it be used as a proof or evidence within the sharia. So we'll cover those matters regarding hadith al-mursal. Then we discuss regarding the sahabi that is mentioned. From what I can recall, we had discussed something about the sahabi that was mentioned. So inshallah ta'ala for today we just pick up from concern the next of those points that I discussed regarding this particular hadith, that they mentioned that hamiyat hada hadith, regarding concerning makanat hada hadith. So the status of this particular hadith, how this hadith is viewed by the ulama. So Abu Dawud rahimahullah ta'ala, that I've mentioned, innahu min ahadith allati tadura al-fiqh alayha, that Abu Dawud as-Sijistani, that you have mentioned that this particular hadith is one of those hadith where concerned that fiqh that revolves around this hadith. So this hadith showing the importance of this hadith. So after those hadith, that fiqh that is used by the ulama, and many points of fiqh that relates to this particular hadith. So that's the meaning of what he's mentioned. Then Ibn Hajar, and also it is stated regarding concerning that this particular hadith, that as we know, or what is discussed within the ulama, that within the science of fiqh. So within the science of fiqh, that it has different sub-science. So we have, what are some of the sub-science of fiqh? So we have qawaid al-fiqh, usul al-fiqh, maqasid al-sharia. So concerning of fiqh, then and they have mentioned regarding of fiqh, you have different science that's related to that particular science. So you have of those science, so in studying of fiqh, then of those things that a person should know, that the person also study usul al-fiqh. So it's imperative that a person who wish to discuss or to speak about fiqh, that they study usul al-fiqh. So both go together. A khilaf between the ulama that regarding which is to be studied first. Which is to be studied first, usul al-fiqh or fiqh. But generally concerning that for a talib, that's imperative that they study usul al-fiqh if they want to discuss matter regarding al-fiqh. Also what attached to the science concerning qawaid al-fiqhiyya. So also of what is connected to the science, qawaid al-fiqhiyya. And third also was connected to the science that I mentioned, maqasid al-sharia, al-maqasid al-sharia. But overall, that for us, the second we mentioned qawaid al-fiqhiyya. So amongst the ulama of qawaid al-fiqh or qawaid al-fiqhiyya al-kubra, al-khamsa. So the ulama mentioned that in fiqh and its qawahid, its main principles, where these principles that they mentioned that it revolves around 5 main principles. So qawaid al-fiqhiyya revolve around 5 major principles, and this hadith is one of them, as we mentioned. So as for those 5 main principles regarding usul qawaid al-fiqhiyya al-kubra al-khamsa, that they mentioned that these 5 are as follows. Al-umur bimaqasidiha, that they mentioned, so umur is by its maqasid. So things are by its intent. Meaning concerning hadith, al-amal bin niyat. Al-amal bin niyat. So things are by its intention. Then so that's concerning where things regarding the person's action, regarding things that are said, then it is based upon the person's intention. Then the next of those qawaid al-kubra, al-yaqeen la yazul bishak. The second of those qawaid al-kubra, these main principles. So these main principles, many things fall under them. Many principles or many things fall under these principles. So the second of them we said is what? Al-yaqeen la yazul bishak. So anything that is certain, it is not removed by you having doubt. So to remove something or to go away from something which is said to be certain, you need to replace it with something which is certain. So something which is uncertain cannot undo something which is already established and known or certain. Then the third of those principles I mentioned regarding, which is, so we mentioned that I mentioned al-mashaqqa tajlib al-taysir. Al-mashaqqa, so things that are difficult, it makes things, brings about simplicity. So al-mashaqqa, when things become difficult, at times that it will be replaced by something, so things will be, it will bring about, or it will be replaced with something which is more simple, taysir. The fourth, so something I found, so this is within this world, and these have their own guidelines and principles. We just mention the principles in general. So mashaqqa, the person will find things difficult, then the Sharia might allow for a person some level of ease. The fourth of those principles, al-ada muhakkama. So al-ada, which is concerning general customs, that becomes muhakkama. It becomes that, then it becomes something which is, it can become legislative. So al-ada muhakkama. So thing which is ada, then it can be used as a legitimate reference and a legitimate source. So customs, certain customs that are established and known and does not contradict the Sharia, then these things, then they can become a legislative principle, law. Then the last of those, which is the one that we'll discuss, which the one that we mentioned, ad-darar yuzal. Ad-darar yuzal. So from this hadith, this principle is taken from it. Ad-darar yuzal. That things with that darar, that is to be, so things of harm that are problematic are to be removed. To be removed. So that's concerning, so this hadith, it have this, so this hadith, it forms that principle. That hadith is concerned that, this hadith, it comes under this principle regarding ad-darar yuzal. And we'll discuss that further. So those are the 5 main principles that are followed by the ulama of qawaid al-fiqhiyya al-kubra. So that's of the benefit of this hadith. So it serves as one of the main principles regarding al-qawaid al-fiqhiyya al-kubra. Also of those things that are discussed regarding this particular hadith, that this particular hadith, as we had mentioned, that many sahabi have narrated this hadith. Also it is defined in some narration, you have different wordings of the hadith. So regarding of the wording of the hadith, that it have 3 main wording of this hadith. The first, which is the more common and the more renowned of them, la darar wa la dirar. La darar wa la dirar. That's the more common, wording of the hadith, and the one which is more renowned to most. The second wording of the hadith, لا ضرر ولا إضرار. لا ضرر ولا إضرار. So that's the next wording of the hadith. And that narration is the narration of Aisha, Ibn Abbas, and also Abu Sa'id al-Khudri. And different books of Tabarani, Daraqutni, and others will have that wording. The third of the wordings that I mentioned, لا ضرر ولا ضرر. لا ضرر ولا ضرر. So that's concerning of the next third wording, and that wording, the wording of Abu Hurairah. So these are different wording of the hadith, but the first one is the more popular wording of the hadith, which all of us have similar meaning. So as for, so you might find that in different narrations of those different Sahaba, that their wording may be a bit different, but the meaning generally the same. The next of those points that I discussed regarding this particular hadith, that they mention regarding what is meant by these words, لا ضرر ولا ضرار. So you have a lengthy discussion between the ulama regarding ad-darar, what is intended, and also dirar, what is intended. So in trying to, as I say, summarize it as best as possible, they mention ad-darar, did, and nafa. So darar, something which is darar, harmful, its opposite is something which is beneficial. So they mentioned that la darar, that meaning concerning that, as we discussed concerning ad-darar, that that's the difference between both. Ad-darar, they mentioned that of those things that mentioned that comes with it, that it is something that is done by the person, that you are not the one to begin harming others, not to be the one to initiate harming others. So la darar, don't be the one to initiate harming others. Wala darar, that the person that you should not or not allow yourself or others to fall into a thing which is harmful. Not allow, la yadkhul, that yourself upon thing which is harmful. These are the meaning that they mention regarding that particular la darar. Not to be the one to initiate harming others, and also not to put yourself in, as I say, arm's length, in danger. Wala dirar, dirar, that I mentioned that at dirar, it involves the difference I mentioned, that mentions an action done by two. Of the meaning that something that requires that one, ad-darar, yuqabil ad-darar, that one person doing harm and then you counteracting. So someone harm you and you counteract. You respond back to the person. You react back to the person. So that's in that sense. So you do not per se that one harm being whatever the term they mentioned. Reciprocate. Two wrongs that make a right. In that sense. So because someone harm you, it doesn't justify you to harm them back. In that sense. So as they say, two wrongs doesn't make a right. So that's the meaning that somewhat is discussed regarding what is meant by this. Same, so you have different meanings regarding this, but those meanings is mentioned regarding this particular hadith. So it's in the English, they say, what is the English meaning? Not to? In English, what I have there?
Do not harm.
So do not harm. So instead that do not initiate harming others. Be the one to start, as they say, it's to start things.
Start conflict.
Hey?
Okay.
Okay. That's that matter regarding consider that in the sense of other mean that do not be the one to, because you are harmed, then you need to harm that person back. So you have different references, they have different wordings or meaning that can come from it, but all of them labas. But so that's concerning as what is discussed regarding that particular hadith. That is, so they mention la dirar, in a sense involve more fi'l ithnain, that is the action of two person, one doing something and then the other person responding back to that person. They didn't harm to you, then also you doing some form of harm back to them. And for the next matter regarding this particular hadith,
The other book says there should be no harming or reciprocating harm.
So that meaning, so those are the meaning that can come from, so you have all those means, and you have various meaning that can be taken from that, from those sentences. The next of those things that they discuss, the ulama who mention also that they see that darar wa dirar, that both have the same meaning. One just emphasizing the other. One just emphasizing, so they see as both carrying the same meaning. There's no difference between both words. The other one, ta'keed, is just kind of somewhat to cement or just to confirm the other. So those are the meanings that are mentioned regarding what is stated regarding this particular hadith. So from the hadith that they are mentioned, that from the hadith overall, it shows regarding tahrim ad-darar al-Muslim, that regarding concerning the hadith, it shows that overall, so the hadith from both sides, that it shows that it is forbidden regarding harming others and putting others in danger. So the hadith, it shows regarding that Islam forbids regarding danger, putting danger upon others. Also, to find that as a general theme in Islam. So a general theme in Islam regarding concerning, especially regarding concerning the Muslim, that inna dima'akum wa amwalakum alaykum haram. So the Prophet kind of somewhat emphasized regarding concerning that your wealth and your your life and your property, that's upon you all haram. So that's concerning that. So that the general ruling from the hadith is that harming in generally is something which is haram. So after the next matter that is concerned the hukum from what can be taken. So the person that not to allow yourself to be unjustly harmed by others, and also not to reciprocate harm to others unjustly and unfairly. With this, they said anwa ad-darar, different types of harm that, and most of the cases that they mentioned regarding cases regarding ad-darar, by way of things that general concern that that in general affairs is there darar regarding a deen. In matters concerning umur diniya, is there darar? In our deen, regarding concerning umurs of ibadah and concerning matters of the deen, in sense of that ta'arrad, say ad-deen min ayto ad-darar, by some mention could be, which is the ummah in general, could be thing which is kharijiyya wa dakhiliyya. So concerning which is more concerning, meaning the Muslims. And how Islam is represented and seen. So ad-darar regarding the deen asbab, that this can occur by way of things that could be, that can harm the deen, which is the Muslim, and how Islam is viewed and seen, by thing which is dakhiliyya, thing which is internal, wa kharijiyya, and thing which is external, exported. So of those things which is the dakhiliyya, would be what? Things that within internal, between ourselves, that we can harm the deen and reputation of Islam. Cheating, aywa. Between ourselves. Something of those things, asbab concerning so of those concerning that, khilafiyya or khilafat mathabiyya. So khilafat mathabiyya. So khilaf mathabiyya. So we have khilafat mathabiyya in a sense of at times regarding concerning khilafat al-mathabiyya. So mathabiyya concerning in a sense of two ways, which is by way of concerning ahkam al-shar'iyya, where people go over the top regarding aligning to a particular madhab. So you find that because a particular person may follow a particular madhab from one of the ulama that are established.
The venom state is not there.
By way of khilafat al-mathabiyya, by way of a person become muta'assib towards a particular madhab. So they follow a particular madhab and they kind of somewhat, they will make wala wal bara based upon those who are aligned to that madhab or not. So you might find in today's climate that we have with the Muslim today, which is internal of our differences, that of those who may align to a particular madhab, and you might find that those that they give only permissibility for you to follow one of the four madhahib, Hanafi, Maliki, Shafi, or Hanbali. So they mentioned so far you have some of the mindset of some of the Muslim, and that means a mindset of some of the Muslim, that they see that for the Muslim, any Muslim today, that you are allowed to attach yourself to one of those four madhahib. And if you don't, then for them that is a problem. So for them, and the madhab that they follow, they see that everything from A to Z they accept. They would not challenge anything nor question anything within the madhab, as long as it's confirmed within the madhab. They won't challenge it. But they will allow that, yes, each Muslim should follow one of the four, and to be outside the four, then that would be a problem. That would be for them a serious problem. That's unacceptable. So you might find that today that of those things that they attack concerning a Salafiyah, that of those who upon Salafiyah may not follow a specific madhab. So they attack those who align to Salafiyah, that they do not follow up, some of them, not all, some may not follow a particular madhab. So they see it as you're not following a madhab, as if you're coming, so if you're not following a madhab, you come with a new madhab, according to them. That understand that the process is not per se following one, but the person benefit from all, and take the one that they seem or understand to be the more correct. We're not talking about the awam al-Muslim. We're not talking a general Muslim. We're talking about, you understand, so we're talking about within the framework of people who have studied Islam. You with me? So even for instance, so within those people who have studied, gone to those institutions, they still believe those institutions still kind of somewhat make it see it as compulsory. You have to follow one of the four madhahib. And to go outside, then that's a problem. So he said, no, this has been of an old problem that still continue today. It's an old problem that still continue today. And next of those things also concern Ta'ifiyah. We're going to concern falling into different jama'at. Then this also of those things which is that darar upon the ummah of falling into jama'at. So this being there, then that's a problem. That being there, then that's thing which is darar dakhiliyah. That a Muslim, that will divide the Muslim because of following these different jama'at al-Islamiyah, so-called. Which those jama'at, most of them concerned that say of those jama'at, so generally concern a person to avoid the Prophet that to leave away all these jama'at and to follow concerning al-kitab wa sunnah ala fahim a'immat al-salaf. So the person concerned that to know what to be followed, especially concerning the matter of aqidah wal manhaj, that a person also al-kitab wa sunnah wa ma'alayhi as-salaf wa a'immat al-huda. That's what a person follow. The book and to the sunnah, and also what the salaf were upon, and also the well-established ulama showed that follow their way, that upon the way of the salaf. Anything else, then it will be that is division and confusion. That is division and confusion. Then also of those things so those are some of those things that, and also of those things they mentioned, that is dakhiliyah, that cause darar al-Islam wal-Muslimin, adam tatbiq al-Islam wal-Sharia. That of the darar upon a Muslim, not for a Muslim collectively, generally, wherever we may be, that we do not follow the Sharia to the extent that we should. Not following the Sharia to the extent that is expected from us. And also that by way of governance in overall, then also amongst by way of the state, then that also is not to the extent it should be. So by way of governance, by way of the state, and also by way of the Muslim individual, that the tatbiq of Sharia is not to the level it should be. It's not to the level or to the standard that it should be. So تقصير في تطبيق الشريعة والتحكيم بالشريعة. So those are of those things that said to be, we said what? داخلية, within, amongst our ranks. And also, and also of those things that could be added regarding concern that which is that you have, and also regarding concern that other تخلف في تعليم, regarding concern a Muslim regarding a تعليم al-Islamiyya, that we're not to the standard that we should. Now, more effort can be made regarding the level of ta'lim between the Muslims that could be improved, or more effort. But overall, those are some of those matters. And also concern ad-darar regarding kharijiyya would be what? Kharijiyya, thing which is external. Will be what? Umur siyasi. The politics. I'm not talking about one particular country. You understand? We have East and West, and even, you understand? So you have umur siyasa. So you have these political matters. And because concerning ad-daf al-ummah of the Muslim, that as we see that others impose their ways upon us. Others will impose their ways and their ideas upon us. So those are matter are siyasa, that of the issues that are problematic. Also, Omar mentioned as al-ghazu al-fikri. Al-ghazu al-fikri, also by way of the that's the intellectual attack. So they use these ways of intellectual attack, or i'lamiyya, or thing which is general information, that also these things also kharijiyya. And also ijtima'iyya, we're going to somewhat try to make the Muslim kind of somewhat as they see it as, that you the Muslim, as for what you are upon today, is somewhat takhalluf, that you're kind of somewhat behind as a society. You're not up to date, you understand? That your woman, are not, they're not choosing what they want to dress, how they want to dress. You understand? They have hurriya, supposing they should be free to dress as they want, and no one should tell them how they should dress. Even by way of the state should having laws regarding dress code. Those things are for them a bit backwards according to them. Yadu billah. And also things regarding also said that with also more which is mentioned iqtisadiyya. Things regarding iqtisadiyya, which is financial matters, economics. So you find that also those matters regarding economics that the Muslims somewhat that as a society in general or states that in most part that we are importers. We're always importing, buying. We're not exporters. With me? So we're always taking and we're not per se, and we don't so those things that are there, but those are darar al-ummah. Wal askariya, you understand askariya, that militarily ala kulli hal, that's a siyasa, we're discussing those matters. But overall concerns, after that we're concerned that as individuals that sometimes may occur internal regarding concerns to the Muslim, that you might find that of the dar al-Islam wal Muslimin, that we have concerning internal more shakhsiyya, that we find that intishar al-jahl, the spread of ignorance amongst us as Muslim regarding our deen, and also even at times regarding matters of dunya, but more so matters regarding our deen. And also matters regarding concern that Adam al-Qudra, at times that we don't have the ability to function how we want. There's always restraint. Also regarding, as we mentioned, al-ghulu, either we find that ghulu by some or jafa. That some people somewhat regarding Islam, they either go over the top or they are very lenient about Islam. As I said, watering down Islam. So you have those people, and they said even amongst the people are said to be the what? You find some of them that are al-hulu, nam, and you have al-jafa. Those who go over the top from both sides, those who water things down until there soon nothing is left, or can barely see whatever it is Islam, and you have those who are they're always going over the top, as if they are war with the Muslim. Nam. So that's concerning those matters, and also intishar al-bid'ah wal-khurafat wal-mukhalafat. So those are the darar that come back to the Muslim and our society. But concerning things of the deen, then also things concerning that, anwa ad-darar, regarding things of mu'amalat am, regarding the general dealings, in general dealings, then that goes into many things. That goes into many areas and things regarding ad-darar that occur concerning in various things. In iqtisad, tijara, nikah, and all those areas. And all those areas that you find that, so you have darar also can come by way of in relationship, husband and wife, family matters, matters regarding, what else? Our behavior and conduct. So all those things that you find concerned that business transaction that I mentioned that we cheat and the likes, involved in illegal activities of different types and ways. Also ad-darar by way of also us consuming, taking in thing which is haram. So all these things are there. So of those concerns in that also that's so with what we look at, what we hear, what we see, what we do, all of the other stuff. Sometimes we're involved in things of darar in all those things, and so it occurs in those areas. It occurs in those areas regarding al-buyu and the likes. So ad-darar, it occurs in all those areas. So the next of those things that are mentioned, as we have said regarding of those qawaid al-sharia, qawaid al-fiqhiyya that we mentioned, ad-darar yuzal. So the intent of the Muslim is to remove things that are harmful. So not to place oneself in harm's length, nor to put harm upon others, not bring about harm to others. That's the general principle of the Muslim that he tries to follow. So if there's harm, that one tries to remove it. If there's anything which is harmful, that one tries to remove it. So of this that ulama mentioned about that principle itself also have its own guidelines and rules. So that principle, ad-darar yuzal, has its own rules that attach to this. So by this ruling, ad-darar yuzal, that meaning concerns yajib ad-daf ad-darar, that the Muslim that trying to eradicate and to remove of evil. So removing of evil and harm, that something that the Muslim should try to be involved and engaged in. So this ad-darar yuzal, that a person who said not to put himself into himself and his family and others in harmlands, and also not to the person also to be the one to bring harm to others. They mention regarding concerning with this also that ad-darar of the principle, ad-darar la yuzal bimithli, that also that ad-darar, any form of harm and danger, it is not to be removed with something which is similar, not replaced with something similar. So you can't try to remove one harm and then bring something which is a similar harm. So you want to stop something which is harmful, but then you're now putting in place something which is equally dangerous. So not to remove one harm and bring in place something which is similar. then of those things, so the person out there make those and those things go back to, and said, so you have personal situations, or you have cases where cases regarding the ummah. So you have cases regarding the ummah. So overall, so that's of those principles I mentioned. In a case concerning ad-darar ashad yuzal bid-darar akhaf. So you might find also cases that where the person have to weigh things up. So it's going to something to give the person an idea how to weigh things up. So you might find that there's an evil, but in trying to replace that evil, but you're going to somewhat have exchange with something which is equally as evil. Then that doesn't apply. Then we have a next case regarding concerning that. So the person in that case, leave that matter. Then you might have another case regarding concerning ad-darar ashad yuzal bid-darar akhaf. So you might have a danger which is more, that one is more serious than the other. Both are evil, but one is more severe than the other. Then the person not to try to remove, then the person that, so he goes to the one which is the least of the two. He goes to the least of the two. A different aspect of the principle. So they mentioned so so they mentioned that ad-dar ashad yuzal bidar akhaf. In the sense that they mentioned that a case where, for example, that the Muslim are being attacked by the kuffar. But the Muslim that they need money to buy arms, that the hakim the people who are wealthy can take from them. By way of either, so the person of those people concerned, that he can even pay that increase regarding what they pay regarding their zakat. So as to be able can buy what is necessary to fight against the enemies. So they mentioned that, so he has those two things, either allow the enemies to overcome, or get that money from the citizens, take from them, so as to buy what is needed, so as to protect themselves. Or also increase in zakat, or increase in zakat in that time regarding trying to facilitate for those who are poor, because of the place maybe that there was a war, that everything is kind of somewhat been destroyed. So increase regarding zakat, so as to give to the people who are the masakin, who has nothing at all. Then also, or a tax. Also they mentioned regarding that that you might have darar, which is
When you mention zakat, you mean like?
It was like a tax based.
Not the shot. You can't say now.
No, the zakat still remain, but it can add to it. As a form like a tax.
Okay, yeah.
So increase on it. So the Philip said concerning those who have to pay, can increase the amount by way of some form of like tariff or tax. Then they mentioned regarding of cases regarding concerning that darar, which is wal khas. So something which is that darar that may affect everyone, and those can understand some people. Or so which one to be given precedent. So the one that affects the majority, then a person trying to avoid that and sacrifice, and maybe the that affects the least or the some people, then kind of somewhat go that route. But the one that affects the majority of the people, then to try to avoid this, if it means that some may be harmed. So these are of those cases that they mentioned regarding of the principle, and also the general dimension dar al-mafasid muqaddam ala jalb al-masalih. So the principle amongst that is used or mentioned dar mafasid. So kind of somewhat so the general thing of the sharia concerning dar mafasid is try to lessen or eradicate evil and to spread of good. That's the general theme of the Sharia, to remove, eradicate evil, and to spread of good. But if you find that certain cases, they mention that if the case that there seems to be opposing each other, which one is giving precedent? So you have a case where that evil and good, that you have to kind of somewhat, you can't do both, you have to give precedent to one of them. Which one do you give precedent? Spread of evil, remove of evil, stop the evil, or spread of good.
Stop the evil, prevention.
Hey, they mention that if both ad-dar mafasid muqaddam, so trying to stop of evil is given precedent in spreading, or to eradicate evil is giving precedent in spreading of good. If both of them are overlapping, if they are colliding, so that principle only use that so the general thing that you believe that evil is widespread and equal to that of spreading of good, then you give precedent to stopping and blocking of the evil, and all back in trying to spread good. So they mention dar mafasid muqaddam ala jalb al masalih. So in that case, the person will try to stop the spreading of evil, put more emphasis, more effort in that area than spreading of evil, than spreading or spreading of good. Spreading of good, doing of good. So those are those principles. You have that principle that are there. So those are the principles they work with regarding these matters, of the principle that they work with regarding this particular topic. They mention also regarding concerning ad-darar that at times ad-darar at times it is allowed and not allowed. So it's generally concerned ad-darar, it is something which is not allowed, but at times doing harm it is allowed. So in case that is allowed regarding concerning that which is a form of darar, doing of harm to others in a time of jihad. So even though sometimes you are taking life and the likes, but it means that because there's a greater good. There's a greater good. So yes, with jihad, there's a degree of harm. Okay, taking lives. But in that case, it's something which is bil haqq. It is something that is done, which is that it has a valid reason. Or darar could be by way of concerning matter regarding al-hudud wa ta'zirat, that in establishing Islamic hudud, Islamic law, or Islamic punishment. So a person have done something, but in this case, that there's a had, there's a punishment for the person who have crossed that line or have done that crime. Then there's a punishment, and sometimes the punishment includes death, or loss of body, or other things. Person's hand could be chopped off, and the likes. So loss of limbs could also occur. So in those matters, does it not that this darar, it is something which is, it has a valid reason. It has a valid reason. So there's a reason. So in those cases, it is a justifiable reason to harm others or to bring about harm. And also that a darar that can occur by way of either things that are done verbal. Darar can be something which is by way which is verbal, or bil fi'l. So it could be with aqwal wal af'al, by way of harm being done with the limbs, or being done, or so physical harm, as they say, so physical harm, and also you have that which is verbal. So within within the Sharia, that verbal, that false accusation which is verbal, then also the Islam draw a line regarding those things. So regarding concern that Islam also within the Sharia take into consideration regarding a person saying certain things that may be considered to be darar, a harm towards others. So by way of false accusation and the likes, and also you have the one which is physical, that by way of stealing, by way of what? Physical, hitting and the likes. So these are considered to be also ways of harming others, whether it can be done physical or verbal. And also from the hadith it shows regarding, as we mentioned, that of the meaning la darula, that the person responding to one and harm by way of harm, to evil, as I said, does not. And we said this in by the person have a right that this applies outside the mahakim. One person hit me, then I'm going to turn to hit him back. Now, if that case, then it goes back to the judge. That may be your right, but that's to be that to be resolved inside the courthouse, not in the streets. So yes, that la darar wa la dirar, that you person that know that you do not respond to an evil by evil, which is this is outside that which is outside the courts. So within the court system, you may be allowed, if a person take someone's life, then also their life could be taken. You take a person's life, then the court may allow for that person that the family can take that person's life. So within the courts, it's allowed according to the punishment that is established within the Sharia. But in the streets, then no. Then in the streets, except in cases that we mentioned, that in cases that concern darar, is allowed self-defense. So just to add, so in the case regarding self-defense, that you allow them to harm others within that which is just and reasonable. Within that which is just and reasonable. So if a person break into your home with weapons as an intruder, you understand, and he has weapons, then you can defend yourself with a weapon. And if the person wants to die, then that's the outcome. That becomes the outcome by way of yours. But by way of your defense. So your intention was self-defense, but as for the outcome, then according to what you were able, based upon the circumstance.
Oh yeah, on that point, if somebody came into your yard and they were only taking things but don't wish to harm you.
Sorry? But
they don't wish to harm you. It's okay.
It's okay. Yeah.
But they don't wish to harm.
They don't wish to harm.
Yeah.
Just want to just take things and go.
Yeah, but they don't wish to harm you.
Hey. Along the person that intrude in your place, you understand? So said no, that they're coming to take things. You have a right to defend yourself within that which is reasonable. You understand? So a person might come into your house, and maybe he comes in he may come with a person might break in. You understand? But he has no weapon. But he's one of those ones that like to break into people's house and to take things. Look for jewelry, look for this. But it's thing that but you may be there. You understand? So you defend yourself according to which is reasonable. I have a person who intrude and come in, but he comes to steal, but he comes with a weapon.
Like a sword or something.
You understand? So he comes with a form of weapon. So again, your response would be different in that circumstance. With me? So according to the person's ability regarding your service in trying to preserve also your life. But still, if you're able to defend yourself without endangering yourself and those with you, then you can defend yourself within that which is reasonable. So for example, a person break into your place, your property, and they understand, and they're escaping, but you're chasing them down. If they go in the public field, you shouldn't continue. Now is for the authorities then to intervene, but for you to kind of somewhat chase him down to where he's at, and you understand, punish him accordingly. You understand? Then it may be that you now have gone over the top. So everything is done in a way which is reasonable within one's limit. So that inshallah ta'ala will end for today. And so we'll end with this particular hadith. We'll end with this particular hadith. This session, and inshallah ta'ala in the next session we can start a new hadith. We'll start the hadith that follows. وبالله تعالى توفيق وهدي إلى السبيل.